Oh, I mean, it's always one of the biggest games in football, if not the biggest. The intensity is always high, the emotion's high. Everyone wants to win. It's a brawl. It's always one where you gotta get the ice bags ready.
A heavyweight battle is on deck for the Dallas Cowboys this Sunday. The Eagles come to AT&T Stadium this time for round 2, and the stakes are a little bit higher this time. The Dallas Cowboys have a chance to be and take over the first place in the NFC East for the first time this season. They can take a 1-game lead over the Eagles in the division. There's quite a few scenarios that need to happen as far as the full NFC picture, but certainly a momentum shifter for the Cowboys team that's already been playing at a very high level. Welcome into Cowboys Rewind. I'm Nicole Hutchison. There's a lot to look ahead to this week, but first, we've got to rewind Week 13. The Cowboys showed some resiliency against the Seahawks, something they haven't had to show much of as of late, and it paid dividends, getting the 41-35 win to move to 9-3. But what exactly did this Cowboys team prove? The Players Lounge broke it down this week on their podcast.
This is one of the victories that we have been talking about we needed, where we're behind. Right? and the pass rush is not that big of a thing. And Dak and our offense has to find a way when the defense isn't as good as they have been to make something happen. And then we had a chance to see it. Like you just said, they were down. They had to come back. Dak took it on his shoulders, made it happen. They also showed up as a physical team. I'm looking at Ferguson. I'm looking at Dak with the flex on him.
You seen TP falling forward.
I seen TP. So for me, this is one of those games where I was like, hey, you know what? Right now we look like a finesse team, and when we play against physical teams, we haven't been able to be as physical. This right here showed that we do have the potential to be physical as any other team in the league.
Heckman Harris on one side of the ball.
On one side of the ball, yeah. We matched intensity. Everything you just said, and I agree with the fact that we needed that test. We need to have somebody come in here and test our metal, especially our offensive line. I think they did I wouldn't say phenomenal job, but a good enough job against a defensive front that gave them all sorts of pressure and problems internally. Tyler Biadasz was one of those names that I came away with saying, hey, man, we got to be better at that position, especially if we want to get to the next level. But offensively, man, it was Dak for me. It was Dak. It was all the people that said that he had to have one of these types of wins. He had to play against an opponent that tested him. And I think Brandon Cooks, to me, is that guy in this offense that can really open up everything for everybody. Because no matter how you play the Cowboys, cover 4, whatever it is, or just straight up double team CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks is going to have his opportunity to expose you. And, man, I've been talking about my tight end for a long time. And I've been waiting on him, to have one of these kinds of games. But I think Jake Ferguson also showed you that, man, he can be one of those dudes that can hog the middle of the field. And if you put him one-on-one with a safety, Jamal Adams, my man, you burnt today.
Yeah.
And I loved it, man. I loved everything about the victory.
Nah, when I look at this, man, to me, it boiled down to two things. One, Dak Prescott, once again, put it on his shoulders and had possibly his best performance as a Cowboy to date, man. If you look at what he was able to do out there, fighting guys off of him, scrambling for extra yards, finding an open receiver. I mean, he did it all. He did it all out there. And another thing that came to mind is I got to give credit where credit is due, man. Mike McCarthy, he's a hell of a play caller. I'll give it to him right now. He's a hell of a play caller when you look at it, man. Because, like I always say, man, when I see you on tape, I see what I see and I say what I see. That man right there put on the clinic when you talk about creativity and getting your number one guy involved, which is CeeDee Lamb. Whether it's reverses, lining them up in the slot, short, intermediate. I mean, he was able to dial it all up. And Dak was able to go out there and execute the game plan almost flawlessly out there. So
that was Barry Church with a word, but Cowboys second-year safety Juanyeh Thomas had a few words for the Girls Talk, Boys Talk crew this week. We had an exclusive interview with Juanyeh. That's coming up right after the break.
Cowboys Rewind is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit swbcmortgage.com to find a pro today. This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Being a part of special teams is a vital phase of the game for guys to prove themselves within their position groups. You had Kevontae Turpin, who spent his rookie season at punt returner, has now become a key weapon in this offense. Jalen Tolbert, who spent his rookie season learning and growing his game, now getting more game day reps on offense. And then you have Sam Williams, who actually had a block punt for a safety in week 8 and has now earned a higher snap count. Juanyeh Thomas is now doing the same after spending his rookie season on the practice squad, primarily a special teams guy to start this year. Now he's one of the highest graded safeties in pass coverage. He's competing for reps behind a talented group, but he's making the most of every snap. You gotta love that. He hopped on the Girls Talk, Boys Talk podcast this week for the exclusive.
Playing safety for DQ in this system, I remember talking to Jordan Lewis, or just about playing DB in general. I remember talking to him about it, and it was like, you better be a hybrid, right?
Right.
How different is it for you to be playing for someone like DQ that uses safeties in ways that maybe aren't traditionally like how you guys would be used?
Man, I'm just glad that I'm here playing in his system, period, because DQ lets me be me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just the fact that, like, he knows my strengths. He moves me around. He told me last year he wanted me to learn multiple spots. So, and that's what I did. And, like, DQ is a coach for all players that you can play multiple spots. Like, if you look at guys like, you know, Mike, Dono, all those guys and stuff, like, we all move around, and, like, he just helps everybody plays like themselves. So, I mean, man, shout out to him. So,
real quick, I asked Bones Fossil about you yesterday in the press conference. I want you to take a listen to this. Jazzy, roll it.
Justin Barnes, Pro Football Network. Coach, can you talk about Juanyeh Thomas? You just mentioned him, but what specifically of his game has grown the past 2 trimesters, if you will, of this season? And what do you expect from him going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. Juanyeh is our personal protector on punt, which, let's face it, is the quarterback position of all the special teams. So that's the number one. And his command and leadership of the punt team has grown as his reps have, gone up on defense and on special teams. So he's a great communicator. He's fantastic in the meetings. He's bright. He asks questions. He's always attentive. He pushes the teammates. He gets them excited. There's just a great leadership quality about Juanyeh. And I told Juanyeh, you don't have to have experience to be a leader. It's about your production at practice and on the game field to have people look up to you as a leader. And I'm really proud of him. Really proud of him. He stayed healthy. He's got some cool things going on with his family. And I expect him to get better for sure.
What is it like?
He's holding back a huge smile right now. You've been blessed this whole time.
Because, like, I don't know, it just makes me smile because the stuff he's telling y'all, I heard last year before I even started playing.
Wow.
Like, so, like, everything that he just said, like, he told me that last year, and he told me my time was coming. He kept telling me that every week last year. He said, listen, stay focused. Stay focused, because I'm not going to lie, it was kind of hard, you know what I'm saying? So, but, I don't know, Bones, man, that's my dog, man. like, even on the days that, like, I feel a way about things, or I just need motivation walking in the building, Bones can tell. He's like one of those coaches that can see it on my face. Like Bones is one of them coaches like that can get to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful for Bones, man. And to be honest, if I'm gonna keep it real with you, if it really wasn't for Bones, I don't think I would probably be a Dallas Cowboy, if I'm being real. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
If you want to take a listen to that full interview, it's on the Dallas Cowboys YouTube. I promise you it's worth listening to the full interview. But coming up after the break, we've got more for you. We're talking Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys preview. Stick with us right here on Cowboys Rewind.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Look where you are now. Look where you were.
Y'all panicked. We didn't. Honestly. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the hell out of that guy, everything he does. He's a professional. And, you know, what I appreciate most of that is really just him saying, you know, who he is and what he expects from himself. And really that conversation that he had with me and with Mike of really just saying that is, I think I can change this game. I think I'm a big-time playmaker, and all I'm asking for is a little bit more opportunity to show it, I guess. And so, yeah, that guy does everything the right way. And, I mean, he's just, as I've said before, reaping the rewards for all the work that he's put in this thing, our trust, the way that he attacks and approaches this game, and, yeah, continuing to build.
You gotta love the confidence from your QB1 and the confidence he has in CeeDee Lamb and this offense. Everything up until the loss to the 49ers in Week 5 is in their rearview mirror, and I mean, why not, right? They're 6-1 since that game, and they're playing their best ball yet. Nick Harris, joined by myself, Nicole Hutchison, to break down a little bit of this preview of this matchup against the Eagles. Now, the Cowboys since then have been 6-1. Their #1 scoring offense, 2 second-ranked defense, and the 3rd best special teams unit. They have a chance to take over the NFC East by a 1-game lead. They're 9-3, Eagles 10-2. Morally, we know what's at stake for this team, but morally, as far as confidence, what would that do for this team?
Yeah, it would be huge. We actually talked to CeeDee Lamb this week about it and asked him, you know, it is just another game, yes, but is there more that goes into this Eagles matchup? And he said, we have to treat it like another game, but we know the implications ahead. You mentioned the playoff implications. If Dallas was to win on Sunday night, they would pull to a tie with the Eagles in the divisional standings. They would have a brief tiebreaker advantage until the end of the season when everything would play out. The Eagles would still control their destiny, but having a win just going into the final stretch of this season like this one, it would be huge. And I think the confidence on all 3 sides of the ball that have been able to build as the season has gone on, as you mentioned, since that San Francisco game, offensively, it's been Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott being on the same page, getting weapons involved. Defensively, it's been young guys that have been stepping up like Deron Bland, Marquise Bell, Micah Parsons. And so you have to love the confidence on all 3 phases of the ball right now going into this game. And honestly, I feel pretty confident about it myself.
There's a question lingering right now, you know, during the week is whether or not this Cowboys team is an elite team just yet. Would a win on Sunday make this team elite?
Yeah, I understand that all 9 wins so far this season have come against teams that are either at 500 or below 500, and maybe that's a fair criticism, but you look at the schedule ahead, we're going to find out if this team is elite. You got the Eagles this Sunday night, and then traveling to Buffalo and traveling to Miami, 2 really difficult places to play so far this season, and then you get the Detroit Lions at home. So these next 4 weeks, you're going to get the answer to that question. I mean, we've already seen this Dallas team go up to Philadelphia and compete with the Eagles through all 4 quarters up until the very final play. We know this team can compete with the elite teams, but can they beat them? I think that's what we find out in the next 4 weeks.
That was Nick Harris's answer. We have the crew on Hanging with the Boys. They had a few words about, is this team elite or not? Go ahead and take a listen.
I think if they lose to Philly, whether it's by 20, 30 points or 1, I think the narrative continues that they can't win the big games.
That wasn't the question. The question is, how do you feel about the team?
I would feel that they can't win the big games. They're going to get bounced in the division round.
Same old Cowboys.
Here we go again.
But better talent.
No.
Same?
No. This team cannot lose. You have to take a step. You have to say, right now, I am better than Philly. I got every advantage. I'm going to use the people's advantage. They just took a butt whooping from the 49ers. They should be tired because of the gauntlet they were. This is what everybody else is saying. Mm-hmm. They should be tired because of this gauntlet they own. Their quarterback has a bum knee, you know. So they should beat Philly. So everything points. So if they can't beat a wounded, beat up team that's been, they're not very good. The Cowboys are not very good if they lose this game.
What about the theory or the
There's
thought?
an answer.
Yeah.
There's an answer.
Yeah,
that's what you were looking for.
What about the thought that now you got Philly good and pissed off? That defensive line got embarrassed last week. What are they going to do this week?
That's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm. See, I believe this right here. Justin, you know, this is an NFC East game that determines whether you are home or whether you have the top seed altogether. Don't you know Philadelphia coaches said, men, this is the reality of it. We got our behinds handed to us, but our goals does not change because all we have to do to make it right is to beat Dallas. Now everything, we still lead the division. We're the NFC East leaders. We're the NFC leaders all together. Everything is still in front of us. The Cowboys, Coach McCarthy is telling them a different thing. This is how we gain control. One team is already in control. I'm talking about the obvious, man. I'm stating the obvious. What everybody else is stating is hope. Hope does not win games. Performance wins games.
Now, we heard from them, Nick, but now I've got to ask, is this a different Cowboys team than we saw early, kind of midway through the season in Week 9 that lost to the Eagles 28-23? Is this a different team that we're seeing now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with every week that this team has had since that Week 9 loss to the Eagles, there's been confidence stacked. There's been different offensive game plans that have been adjusted with and played with. You got weapons like CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks that have been able to work together finally. I know in the beginning of the season it was about getting Brandon Cooks involved, that big wide receiver 2 presence. He's had 1,000,000-yard seasons in his 10-year career. Just getting him back involved in the offense, that's been huge. And then the emergence of Jake Ferguson, having all those offensive weapons around. But we look to the defensive side of the ball, and I know they've played well since the beginning of the year. They've had a couple of lapses at moments, but getting that pass rush involved and getting them attacking the quarterback and how it's helped that back end, it's paid a ton of dividends towards this team, and I think it's only going to help with confidence moving forward.
Well, in summary, we've got to get them clicking in all three phases to get this game a win on Sunday. But now we've got to break down this game coming up in the next segment. So make sure to listen right here and stick with us right here on Cowboys Rewind. A lot on the line for the Dallas Cowboys in Week 14. The Cowboys come in 9-3, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, coming in at 10-2, fresh off a loss to the San Francisco 49ers in Week 13. I've got Kyle Yeomans in the building. Kicking it with Kyle, of course, only had to do it right. It's a little kick there.
Yep.
No, Kyle, this is a big game. We got a little bit of a freebie, not a freebie, but some justice with the 49ers taking down the Eagles in Week 13. But now you turn the page. This is a test for the Cowboys. They were tested last week against the Seattle Seahawks. How much was that test? How big was that test heading into a game like this?
Oh, I think it was a big test because you looked at the competition level previously, and the Seahawks are much better than the Panthers. They're much better than some of the other opponents like Washington that you've already seen these last couple of weeks. Getting that win under their belt was great because also Seattle runs a lot of the similar feel of what Philadelphia does. They have the weapons on the outside. They have playmakers at all three levels of the defense, and Dallas was able to control some adversity early, respond to it late, and get the win at home, and that was the most important thing.
Something that we've loved seeing so far the past couple of weeks is this offensive line. The continuity has come together, and they're protecting Dak. They didn't do so well against the pass rush of the Eagles at the first meeting, but really quickly, how much confidence do you have in this O-line heading into this game?
It's continued to grow, and that's part of why this offense has continued to open up the way that it has, is because the offensive line is blocking up front. Tyron Smith is playing some of his best ball over the last couple of years. Zach Martin is still Zach Martin. Terrence Steele's the one X factor. He gave up 12 pressures, and of course the Dallas offensive line had Dak Prescott as a whole sacked 5 times in that Philly matchup. They're going to need Steele to play better this time around.
We need the 4TZ. I made up a little nickname for that.
I like it.
It's
I'm okay with it.
Pretty creative. I got to do better.
We can
with
workshop
that.
it a little bit.
But we need them to come in clutch on Sunday. Hopefully they can carry over their dominance that they have continued to put on display the past couple of weeks. We'll be right back here to wrap things up on Cowboys Rewind. Stick with us.
Shoot, we get to, have Sunday night off. We can enjoy the game, watch them, but also, that's extra film study. Now, we don't have to go back and watch that game. So, being able to have, the situation play out the way it is, definitely feel like, we had the opportunity to get our bodies back and, we well rested and ready to go.
The Dallas Cowboys just finished their 12-day stretch of 3 games with now a little bit of a mini bye to be rested and well rested for this Philadelphia Eagles game. Sunday Night Football is what it's all about. All eyes on the Dallas Cowboys again this weekend. Even the ticket prices reflect reaching a regular season ticket price record. It's a rivalry like no other. The Eagles took the first win in Lincoln Financial Field by a hair. 27 seconds left and the Cowboys couldn't find the end zone. The Cowboys also struggled on third downs only converting 6 of 15 of their attempts. And third down defense couldn't hold up, allowing the Eagles to convert on 50% of theirs and extend drives. But it's back into Arlington the Cowboys go. Home field advantage is what we love and where they've been dominating this season, 14-0 dating back to the 2022 season. And I've won 5 straight meetings in Arlington against the Philadelphia Eagles. Can they make it 6? Can the Cowboys take down yet another team with a winning record? We'll find out on Sunday. We'll see you in AT&T Stadium for a 7:20 kickoff.
Cowboys Rewind was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit swbcmortgage.com to find a pro today.